right, Cowboys fans, we have a lot to unpack here as the season starts heating up, and the team is making some moves that could really shake things up on both sides of the ball. First and foremost, the biggest headline has to be Jadeveon Clowney officially joining the Cowboys active roster. This is a signing that's got a lot of people talking, and for good reason. Clowney is a veteran presence, a defensive end who brings not just talent, but experience, and the Cowboys defense could use every bit of that right now. At 32 years old, he's certainly no rookie, but there's no question that he still has something to prove, and he's made it clear that he's ready to take on the challenge. The way he talks about it, he sees this as a chance to play primetime football and show the world that he's not slowing down, and honestly, that attitude is exactly what this team needs. Now, the timing of this signing is interesting because Clowney hasn't gone through the typical training camp with the Cowboys. He's been out there working on his own all summer. But as we all know, training on your own is completely different from stepping onto the field in a real NFL game. The hits are harder, the pace is faster, and there's no substitute for game-time action when it comes to conditioning your body and mind for this level of competition. So, the big question now is how quickly the coaching staff will integrate him into the rotation. It seems likely that they'll ease him in, probably limiting his snaps to somewhere between 15 and 25 at first. That way, he gets acclimated without risking injury right out of the gate, which is critical given his age and the investment the team is making in him. Meanwhile, Cooper's move to injured reserve has shifted the dynamics of the roster a bit. He's going to be sidelined for at least 4 games, and realistically, it might stretch out to 6 or even 8 weeks depending on how his recovery goes. The Cowboys are hoping for a quicker turnaround, aiming closer to that 6-week mark. But as fans, we've all seen how injuries can be unpredictable, and it's important that the team doesn't rush him back too soon. Protecting players and ensuring they come back healthy is just as important as the immediate impact on the field. This creates opportunities for other players, though, and that's where depth and strategy become so crucial. Speaking of strategy, the defensive end rotation has been an area of focus for the Cowboys so far this season. Through the first couple of games, Sam Williams has been the workhorse, logging the most snaps among the defensive ends. Marzon Nelland has also contributed solid minutes, while Dante Fowler hasn't quite reached the level of impact that was expected coming into the season. Then there's James Houston, who has had fewer snaps, but made notable contributions when called upon. Adding Clowney into this mix is going to shake things up. His presence alone can command attention from offensive lines, open up lanes for his teammates, and add another layer of versatility to the defensive schemes. In Matt Eberflus' system, players are moved around and used in multiple ways, so having a seasoned pro like Clowney who can adapt is a big advantage. Over time, it's easy to see him becoming one of the top 2 or 3 defensive ends on this roster, depending on how the rotation evolves. Clowney's own mindset is something that stands out. He's talking about 7 primetime games as his personal proving ground, and that kind of confidence can be infectious. For a team like the Cowboys, which thrives on energy and momentum, having a veteran who is motivated to perform on the biggest stages is invaluable. It's not just about stats, it's about presence, leadership, and the ability to elevate those around you. Fans can get excited about what Clowney brings not just in sacks or tackles for loss, but in the intangibles that don't always show up on the stat sheet but make a difference in critical moments. On the offensive side, there's some important injury news to consider as well. Cavonte Turpin, who has been a key part of the receiving core and special teams, had a scare earlier, but it turns out he's dealing with a trap injury rather than something more severe in the neck area. He's expected to be limited in practice this week, but could be available for the upcoming game against the Chicago Bears. Turpin's role is crucial, not just as a wide receiver, but also as a return specialist. With the new kickoff rules changing field positioning, having someone with his speed and vision back there can swing field position in a big way, giving the offense a better starting point. If Turpin can't go, that opens the door for players like Jalen Tolbert or Ryan Fleenoi to step in, which creates an interesting dynamic for the depth chart and the coaching staff's game plan. The receiving core as a whole has been a story of adjustment and opportunity. Jake Ferguson has been making significant contributions through the first few games, while CeeDee Lamb is still searching for his first touchdown reception this season. George Pickens has been seeing the field, but connecting consistently has been a challenge. Depth is always tested in the NFL, and injuries or limited availability can shift who becomes a key target in any given game. The Cowboys' ability to adapt and utilize their depth effectively will be a storyline to watch as the season unfolds. On the defensive line, adding Clowney isn't the only move that strengthens the front. Kenny Clark has also made an impact, particularly in run defense, helping to plug gaps and free up other players to make plays. When you look at the defensive in-snap counts from the first couple of games, you see how roles are developing. Sam Williams has been dominant. Marshawn Nelland has been solid. Dante Fowler is still finding his footing, and James Houston has contributed situationally. Clowney's addition gives the Cowboys flexibility to rotate players, manage fatigue, and maintain a high level of play across the defensive line, which is critical for sustaining pressure and controlling the line of scrimmage over the course of a full game. With the season just beginning, every move has implications, and these roster adjustments are a clear message that the Cowboys are positioning themselves to compete at a high level. The mix of veterans and younger players, combined with strategic rotations and attention to player health, shows a team that's thinking carefully about both the present and the future. Watching how Clowney integrates with the defense, how Turpin's availability affects the receiving core, and how the rotation on the defensive line plays out over the next few games will be fascinating. Each decision has a ripple effect, influencing not just individual stats, but the overall performance of the team on both sides of the ball. This is a team that's balancing immediate needs with long-term strategy. The ability to manage injuries, incorporate new players, and maximize the impact of veterans while developing younger talent is what separates good teams from championship contenders. As fans, we get to witness these storylines unfold in real time, seeing how coaching decisions, player mindset, and game day execution all come together. There's excitement in the uncertainty, in wondering how quickly Clowney will make an impact, how the offensive weapons will adjust, and how the defense as a whole will respond to these changes. The narrative isn't just about individual talent. It's about chemistry, timing, and the ability to adapt under pressure. Football is a team sport, and the Cowboys' recent roster moves highlight that reality. Every snap counts, every substitution matters, and every decision the coaching staff makes can influence the outcome. Watching Clowney step onto the field, seeing Turpin return to action, and monitoring how the rotation of defensive ends evolves gives fans insight into the broader strategy of the team. It's about building momentum, creating opportunities, and positioning the Cowboys to win not just individual games, but to sustain success across a full season. He's not just a traditional defensive end. He can line up in multiple spots along the line, rush from different angles, and even drop into coverage if needed. That kind of flexibility gives the defense a new dimension, and it forces opposing offenses to adjust on the fly. Offensive coordinators now have to account for a player who can change the pressure scheme within a single snap. It's the kind of disruption that can create turnovers, collapse pockets, and make life significantly harder for quarterbacks. And when you combine Clowney's presence with other defensive talents on the roster, like Sam Williams and Kenny Clark, you suddenly have a front that can apply pressure while still maintaining gap integrity. That balance is what every coach dreams of, and it could be the difference in close games down the stretch. Of course, with Clowney being 32, the Cowboys have to manage his workload carefully. Veteran players bring experience, but they also require smart handling to avoid injuries and maximize effectiveness. Early in the season, limiting him to a controlled number of snaps makes sense. It allows him to get comfortable with the defensive schemes, understand the timing of his teammates, and gradually reintroduce his body to the physical demands of a full NFL game. This isn't about limiting his impact. It's about making sure he's at his peak when the team needs him most. And given his own mindset, his desire to perform in primetime games and prove he still has plenty left in the tank, he's going to give everything on the snaps he does play. That competitive drive is infectious for a locker room, and it's exactly the kind of energy the Cowboys need as they face tough opponents down the stretch. Switching over to the offensive side again, The situation with Cavante Turpin is crucial. His speed and ability to stretch the field make him a dangerous weapon both as a receiver and in the return game. With kickoff rules limiting the distance coverage teams can get, having a dynamic returner like Turpin is even more valuable. If he's limited or unavailable, Jalen Tolbert or Ryan Flenoy will have to step up. Tolbert has shown flashes, but consistency has been a challenge. Flenoy is an unknown factor at this level, which introduces an element of unpredictability for the Cowboys' game plan. This kind of depth test early in the season is important. It allows coaches to evaluate options under pressure, determine who can handle increased responsibilities, and adjust the rotation for future games. It's all part of building a resilient team capable of responding to injuries or performance issues without losing momentum. Looking at the wide receiver core overall, the Cowboys are in an interesting position. Jake Ferguson has been reliable in the early games, making key catches and helping sustain drives. CeeDee Lamb, although still searching for his first touchdown reception this season, remains a central figure in the passing game. Defenses are focused on him, which can create opportunities for other receivers, but it also means the Cowboys have to be precise with timing, route execution, and chemistry. George Pickens has had moments, but connecting consistently is the challenge. When you add in Turpin's potential absence, the coaching staff has a puzzle to solve: how to distribute targets effectively, maintain offensive rhythm, and keep the quarterback comfortable. Every decision matters, especially in close games where a single play can swing momentum. Injuries have always been part of the NFL landscape, and managing them is as much a part of the strategy as play calling. Cooper's lateral ankle sprain and small foot fracture, for instance, is a reminder that even seemingly minor injuries can have a significant impact. The Cowboys' medical and coaching staff must monitor recovery closely, balancing the desire to return a player quickly with the necessity of long-term health. Football is a physical game, and players are assets that need protection. Rushing someone back too soon can lead to setbacks or chronic issues, which can affect the team well beyond a single game. This is why having depth at multiple positions, from defensive ends to wide receivers, is so crucial. It allows coaches to rotate players, manage fatigue, and maintain competitive play while protecting the long-term viability of the roster. The integration of Clowney also has ripple effects beyond just the defensive line. His ability to command double teams can free up linebackers to make plays, disrupt running lanes, and contribute to a more balanced defensive attack. This is where the concept of scheme versatility becomes critical. A player who can shift roles, adapt to offensive strategies, and impact multiple areas of the field provides an enormous strategic advantage. The Cowboys can now disguise blitzes, rotate coverage responsibilities, and create pressure without tipping their hand too early. In a league where small adjustments can determine the outcome of a game, having a player of Clowney's caliber is invaluable. Looking at the numbers from the first two games, we see the defensive end rotation shaping up. Sam Williams leads the pack in snaps, followed by Marshawn Elland, with Dante Fowler and James Houston filling specific roles. Adding Clowney into this mix means the staff can strategically distribute snaps, keeping players fresh while maintaining high-level performance. It also introduces competition within the position, pushing each player to elevate their game. When everyone knows a top-tier veteran is in the room, it motivates them to sharpen skills, focus on fundamentals, and step up when given the opportunity. That kind of internal drive is what transforms a good unit into a great one. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. CJ Mosley to the Dallas Cowboys. It sounds almost like a rumor whispered in the hallways of training facilities, yet insiders insist there is substance behind the noise. The veteran linebacker, long considered the heartbeat of the Jets' defense, is reportedly on his way to Dallas, a move that could immediately reshape the Cowboys' defensive identity. While neither the team nor the player has made an official statement, the buzz has already taken over social media and talk shows, with fans debating whether this could be the missing piece for a unit that has flirted with greatness but still needs a reliable anchor in the middle. Mosley brings something that cannot be coached: presence. His reputation as a field general, someone who aligns the front seven and reads offenses before the snap, gives Dallas a steady hand that the group has often lacked in high-pressure moments. Paired with Micah Parsons, whose explosiveness off the edge makes him one of the league's most feared defenders, Mosley's arrival could free Parsons to attack relentlessly without worrying about coverage gaps or miscommunication behind him. Skeptics wonder if Mosley, now past the physical prime of his career, still has the legs to handle a 17-game grind. Yet even with whispers of decline, his production in New York remained consistent, showing a knack for tackling and diagnosing plays that few linebackers in today's game can replicate. In a division where the Cowboys must deal with bruising running backs in Philadelphia and Washington, his ability to plug rushing lanes could be invaluable. The bigger story, however, may be psychological. Dallas has long been criticized for lacking leadership on defense when the stakes rise in December and January. Mosley, with years of playoff experience and the gravitas of a respected veteran, could be the steadying influence that turns promise into actual postseason success. Nothing is official yet, but if the chatter proves true, the Cowboys may have just added the one player who changes the tone of their entire defense the moment he steps on the field. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.